Vladimir, you're from the LGL in Lithuania.
Yes.
First off, can you explain what LGL is?
Well, in Lithuania we start our LGBT activism in '91. We organized a culture club in '93, but in '95 we understood that it's time to be more active, proactive on LGBT rights, and we established Lithuanian Gay League in '95. And our organization now exists for more than 25 years. This is the main LGBT organization in our country.
Okay. KASPARS, you're from Latvia?
Yes.
And in Latvia, what is it about the LGBT rights? Like, are you guys top-notch, or where do you define yourself?
So Latvia, according to ILGA Europe map, is on the 41st place out of the 49 countries. So we have to say we're the second worst scoring in the European Union. So it's not, let's say, the best situation when it comes to Europe. It's like the only country currently looking at the previous data, the worst is only in Poland. We obviously see what happens in other countries like Hungary. So, but yeah, currently Latvia is scored as the second worst place in the European Union when it comes to the LGBT rights.
Okay. So what rights do you guys have then?
Oh, it's very little, apart from everything, but it's mainly the protection from the discrimination at workplace. So that was something done very long time when we just joined the European Union. So it was like 2006. So and then we have an ombudsman where we can actually go and file the cases. It's like if we feel the cases of discrimination, and then we have like somewhere in between, not even a mention, but we're on the and others when it comes to the protections from the hate crimes. So this is just about it. Just summarize what we have. So we have a way much longer list than what we don't have, and
so all your rights actually came when you guys joined the EU?
Pretty much. It's like the protection from discrimination and employment, it was actually mandatory when you join the European Union, or when you member a country of the European Union, you have to align your legislation according to the EU legislation. So this was just a mandatory thing. It's like the politicians didn't really want to do this. It's like there were actually movement not to do this, but it's there is a nice word in the EU legislation called infringement procedure. So this is what they were risking for. So that, okay, let's give these minor rights in order to get out of the trouble.
When you look at Lithuanian and LGBT rights, like from when you started back in 1991 until now, how have you progressed a lot, or?
Yeah, I have to say that, of course, Lithuania has not easy historic way, because we became independent in '91, and of course we have to understand that in Soviet time homosexuality was forbidden, criminalized, and of course when Lithuania became independent, we were quite naive that changes will come soon. And of course, Lithuania decriminalized homosexuality in '94. We became legal in our country. Then Lithuania joined European Union. And we thought that, well, now we will be equal as in all European countries. And now I see the way is much longer. I don't like this term, but my feeling that we have two ways of equality in our European Union, because when we became a member of elite club, I'm talking about the European Union, my feeling that our country just a little relaxed, and I think that well, they did too much enough for LGBT community, and I have to say that after Lithuania joined European Union in 2004, nothing was done more than before in Lithuania, and it shows that we're still waiting for clear political agenda for LGBT community and LGBT rights in our country.
So, everyday life on LGBT person in Latvia, what is it like? Like, can you guys walk freely, or are you getting discriminated on the streets, or?
Well, everyday life is pretty much the same as everybody else. So it's like everybody thinks it's like we're kind of, you know, wake up in a morning by being completely different. But it's you have to think about many things and more practical things. Discrimination happens. The thing is that people don't report this. Hate crimes happen, hate speech now, especially during the COVID period. It's like there was so much hate speech online, so people are just stuck at home so they can express the worst of them on the social media especially. And the all other things, if you have a family, then you have to think about practicalities, because we're one of the six countries in the European Union where there's absolutely no rights for the same-sex families. We're not even recognized. So yeah, it's quite of a struggle when it comes to rights. So, but an everyday life is like an everyday life. So it's like I'm more concerned about, for example, young LGBT people. So, for example, who seek assistance, who seek help, who seek information. So this is what we're lacking.
Okay, so basically from when you started in 91 up until today, not much have happened, or what?
I can tell what's happened. Well, at least when Lithuania joined Council of Europe, the requirement was to delete this criminalization of homosexuality. We're happy with this. Of course, now we start to be legal, and more. Of course, Lithuania introduced law on equal opportunity in 2001, introduced quite new penal code, labor code. It was time when it was a lot of new legal documents, and we're happy that in each document was article about equality, non-discrimination, and sexual orientation was included, and it was done. And then it was time without any new enforcement on LGBT rights. And what's happened, I have to say that compared with Soviet time, we are in good situation now. Of course, we see what's going on now in Russia, in Belarus, and we are in better position. And we are moving. Our society try to change it in the right direction, but our move is quite slow, because whole Europe move quite fast, and still we have a big gap. And my feeling that we always try to catch up the light.
Yeah.
And I feel that we're moving, we work hard, but Europe moved so fast on LGBT rights.
Okay.
It's way too far ahead, because what we as well see the situation, what happens around the European Union. So our main thing is actually not to go back, because there are movements in Latvia that are trying to get us away from progressing. It's like most of us know what happens in Poland when they're trying to cut LGBT people. cut the rights of the LGBT people. So we are really much hoping that this might not happen to Latvia. So what we have to do within all of this period in order to protect the rights so we don't go backwards. But there are movements that are actually really trying to take us away and take back us to the Stone Age.
If we dive down in like discrimination and hate speech in Latvia, is it a big thing? Is it something that takes a lot of space in like the media or what?
So let's say discrimination at the workplace, it's like our biggest concern is that the people are not reporting. So and people don't even recognize what the word means. It's like it's the same as the hate speech and hate crime. People don't know what it is, and especially when it comes to the LGBT community or the other vulnerable groups, it's like the most worrying is that they live on a daily basis on thinking that this is what it is, and we have to live with it, and that is, I think, the most worrying thing. Is I don't think that there are more hate crimes in Latvia than anywhere else, but what we have less is people reporting, and this is the biggest problem on a daily basis to explain people that you can actually go and seek help, and this as well, distrust to the authorities in order to get help. And it's like, and many people are saying it's like we don't have the reports, and then that means there is no problem. But then a lot of times people don't understand. In order, like if the person has been attacked, and sometimes these are very closeted people, so that means you need to out yourself, and you probably out to a couple of people, and then you have to go to the police or to the authorities and actually say, yes, people thought like I'm part of the LGBT community, right? And it's like, of course you're not going to go and report this because you're not out to your friends, you're not out to the family. It's like you're not going to be out to the police, for example, when it happens in hate crimes. So, but we see a massive increase during the COVID period, especially is like massive increase in hate speech. So, but the good thing out of that all is like we have the better cooperation with the social networks and social media, so a lot of the hate is taken down. So that is the positive things, and I think our law enforcement officials are already as well kind of trained a little bit, so there are more and more cases filed into the police, and some of them are investigated and some even punished.
So there is still like small improvements. Yeah, even though you just at least want to stand still at a minimum, but
well, there are a few. Like we in a past year, we won the 2 cases at the Constitutional Court. So that means recognizing same-sex families as a family. At least if not the government and the politicians are not recognizing same-sex families as a families, then at least court does. So there are a few things. Good thing is at the moment we are not going down. It's like we're not going backwards as in many other countries in the European Union. So that I think it's horrible to say that in 2021 about this, but it's like we're kind of happy we're there and we're moving like half of a baby step.
Well, if we look at what the EU, like the European Parliament have rolled out, they have rolled out this strategy 2020 to 2025 with focus on LGBTQ plus persons and their rights. What do you think about that? Do you think that will be something that would have an effect in Lithuania?
I remember the great speech of Ursula von der Leyen. For me, it was so emotional moment, and it was, deep in the inside of me how I felt when I hear this message for LGBT community and for progressive part of society, because I got it as a personal message for me, because I believe that that European Parliament and European Commission try to change the situation and send the message for all our countries, for all politicians and government, that this is already time to start change the life of LGBT people now, not tomorrow. Because life is too short. I want to see result of these changes because it's exactly what we need. And this strategy stands for me and for my community in Lithuania message of hope. And I have to say, I don't want to took a lot of time of you we start talking with our government. Let's do something concrete. And I see that this bureaucracy of our countries might just a little ruin of the situation of so great starting point of this strategy. But I can say and I can promise that it's now the main task for me somehow to work and to try to push our government with soft power when they will understand that they have obligation to change the situation of our LGBT community, and time is now to do it.
If you look at EU, they have just launched a strategy last year, 2020-2025, and looks at LGBT rights in Europe. What do you think about the strategy, and do you think that it will help Latvia move further on the LGBT rights in general?
I think it's a good step that the EU has made this decision and has clearly pointed out that the LGBT rights are human rights and are the priority of the European Union. So I will be now reserved and kind of follow how the European Commission is going to implement this and how it will be spread to the member states. So I'll be cautiously optimistic, but before I'm kind of express my excitement, I would see how that is being implemented. But I'm happy that the European Union has made the step. It's like to work and recognizing that this is a problem, and by making a clear strategy in order to overcome the problems that our LGBTIQ community is facing on a daily basis in the European Union. I know I'm very happy that to see as well that the European Union is doing about human rights at home, because EU is very good and a lot of our countries are very good in teaching other countries about the human rights and democracy, but still there is a problem at home. So I hope this is the first step on trying to deal with the issues at home.
Do you think that the European Parliament should put more pressure on the Lithuanian government? And if they do, what do you think it will have of an effect on the Lithuanian government?
You know, I have to say, I'm becoming just a little older. Why I say? Because I already have a feelings what activities might what we can catch after when you push too much some government, because it might be opposite effect. You know, it's when you think probably we have to put more pressure. My feeling that when I start thinking about more pressure, it means that sometimes we might get opposite reaction. Of course, there is a lot of things how you might work with governments. And what I would like to ask European Parliament and European Commission to be more creative, to establish safe space for our politicians and for our government to understand that it might be only one way to move in the right direction of this strategy. How we have to do? I don't know. Probably more meetings. Probably it will be boring, but it's how it's work. Probably more action with conversation with civil society, round tables. And step by step, we might get right results. Probably it is a pressure, but it should be conversation in both
conversation,
in both ways.
Yeah.
Yes, it's what I think so.